Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Halo Effect. I am your host, Robert Lockhart. Hey, let's talk a little baseball, huh? Well, it's not a lot of movement yet in the Angels' house right now as it pertains to the new coaches. However, the one thing I can tell you is they are definitely cleaning house. It's probably going to be an entirely new coaching staff. Two that I know for a fact that won't be back, and this is a good thing, trust me, is Johnny Washington's gone and Barry Enright's gone. So we'll have an entirely new hitting coach, an entirely new pitching coach. So that, as long as they pick the right guys, can be very, very beneficial for the Angels. Now, a little news on what happened with the Albert Pujols situation. Don't forget, he was their top guy. He was the guy they wanted most. Unfortunately, talks fell through when it came to length of contract, compensation, and choice of coaches. Length of contract and compensation, I can understand that. Word was saying that Art Moreno only wanted to have a one-year deal because of a possible impending lockout. Apparently the CBA is coming up, and, well, better safe than sorry kind of thing, I guess. I think that's a stupid reason to only want a one-year deal because, I mean, you're not paying your players during a lockout. Why would you have to pay your manager? That makes no sense. But regardless, that's kind of where things were because he wanted to have more than a one-year deal. Suzuki was okay with a one-year deal. He figures that's enough to prove himself. Hope he does. I really hope he does. The other thing was choice of coaches. Now, it didn't exactly elaborate why. I discussed this with a buddy of mine, and we were thinking, is like, well, I mean, because the Tyler Skaggs court hearings are going on right now, and maybe he had guys who were, I guess, maybe possibly tied in with that or anything like that. But for those of us who know Albert Pujols' character, if he's told that, well, this guy's kind of under investigation because of the whole Tyler Skaggs thing, Albert Pujols would be like, oh, okay, well, in that case, let's cross him off the list and let's move on. That's Albert Pujols. He wants the right guy for the right job so he can win. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of all of it, actually. So, but if it turns out that the whole thing was, no, we don't want you having creative control over coaches, we want to choose the coaches, we want to have say in the coaches, really, if that's the case, then screw you. Albert Pujols is a much better judge of character as picking coaches than you are. Quite obviously, because who was the one who chose Johnny Washington and Barry Enright? I think that was a collective thing. I know Ron Washington was in on it, but no, that was more Manassian than anything else. And no. No, Perry. So, anyway, in this particular case, I'm really, really, really hoping that it was more of a, well, because, this is a whole thing going on with Skaggs, or this guy's kind of shady or something like that. I'm really hoping that that's what it was, and maybe Albert was being a little stubborn about it. I doubt it, but it could be. It very well could be. So you never really know. But if everything comes out as, oh, Manassian wanted say in who the coaches were, or because this whole thing with a impending lockout, if there's no lockout, and they could have easily had Albert in as their manager, and Suzuki doesn't do great, Albert goes on to do amazing, then this is like the Dodgers with Mike Scioscia. They had the opportunity to hire him as their manager in the 2000 season, and they chose not to. Instead, the Angels chose him, and the Angels went on to have a decade of dominance. Let's not forget how good Soch was for this team. I'm hoping Kurt Suzuki is somewhat close to how good Soch was. You know, same kind of frame of mind. So I'm hoping he knows what he's doing. So, with that said, I'm going to leave it there, and I will talk to everybody at some point. Let's not forget to like, subscribe, comment, please. Let's talk baseball. Seriously. I mean, I will talk baseball with anybody and everybody. So, let's, fingers crossed for two things. One, that they don't regret, not grabbing Albert when they could. And two, that Kurt Suzuki winds up at least being close to as good as maybe Mike Scioscia. Maybe. Not saying for sure. Maybe. Well, let's just hope for a winning season. So for that, I say you got to choose good coaches. Good coaches. Vet them. Look at their past, please. And let's do smart things with our roster, okay? So I'll have another podcast coming up a little bit later, maybe in a couple of days, on possible free agents, possible trades, and I'll talk to you guys then. In the meantime, go Halos.